Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Ek onkar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirpau Nirvair Akal Mੂਰਤ Ajuni Saibhang Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugad Sach Happy Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach. So there's three Baniya that come consecutively in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Padshah. Did anybody make a note of the Ang and what Ang it comes on? 762. Okay, so Kuchaji starts on 762. And any ideas for what the actual word means? We're going to get into that a bit later, but just quickly from the top of your head before we do go into it later on. Anyone given it any thought to what the actual word itself, Kuchaji, means?
On the Sikhi because that word comes up in other shabds as well.
Okay.
So it's like ill-mannered, like a negative word.
Okay.
And this shabd comes up as ungrateful. Right?
Okay, it comes up as ungraceful, comes up as ill-mannered. Yeah, so we'll look at that in a short while. But why have I picked these particular Baniya, especially Kuchaji and Suchaji? Like I said, very poetic, and sometimes we seem to forget that about Gurbani. Even though like we all know that Gurbani is very divine, Gurbani we all know, we all quote the Pangtiyan Turki Bani Ai, that this Bani has come directly from Akal Purkh themselves. And we see Gurbani to be as a guide as well. So we see Gurbani as all these things. But we often forget how beautiful and poetic Gurbani is. Often there's many Baniyam and there's many Shabads that have a background to them. So meaning that they've got a Sakhi behind them, they've got a story behind them. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji was on their travels, that's when they actually uttered, that's when they actually recited those particular Shabads and particular Baniya. Just like that, this Bani Kuchaji too. Not all of our historians, not everyone that has translated Gurbani has linked this story, but some of our Puratan Janam Sakhiyan, when you hear the word Janam Sakhi, it literally means Janam means life, Sakhi means story, and it's referring to the story of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's life. So whenever if you ever hear this, somebody saying Janam Sakhi, it's actually saying that this is the life of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. It's been told by various and different people. And we've got Puratan Janam Sakhiyan, which were written not long after Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji's time. So Bhai Gurdas Ji wrote about Guru Nanak Dev Ji's life as well. So in one of our Puratan Janam Sakhiyan, Puratan means old. So from one of the Janam Sakhis that were written during the time of the Guru Sahiban, so after Guru Nanak Dev Ji, this Sakhi is found, this Bani is linked with this particular Sakhi. Where did this take place and where did it happen? Just to give you guys an idea of how much Guru Nanak Dev Ji actually travelled as well. So if you take a look at this now, like Guru Nanak Dev Ji is born, remember today we know as Pakistan. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji now is all the way over here, and a place called Assam. And in Assam there's a place called Kampur. And over there, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji has gone now all this way, all that distance away from Punjab, which we know as East India. Bhai Mardana Ji, as we have probably all famously heard, that Bhai Mardana Ji often asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji that, are we going to go somewhere where we're going to get a proper meal? Bhai Mardana Ji would often ask Guru Nanak Dev Ji, are we going to get to go somewhere where we're going to get a nice shelter, a nice place to stay? Are we going to get to go somewhere where there's going to be other people around us? So this we'll hear very often throughout Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji's life. Bhai Mardana Ji would ask these questions. Same thing happened here. Because what Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji would do, they would always go and sit outside of built areas. So where there was no population, where it was very quiet, and they would just peacefully do kirtan together. And I always like to make this point that a lot of people say to myself often as well, and they say, Paji, that your job must be so difficult, that you've got to travel so much, and you've got to be away from the family. And the truth is, but when I read Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji's Jeevani, and this isn't, sometimes you just say something for the sake of it because it sounds good, and it really isn't that. And this is something I truly felt when I was reading Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji's Jeevani and their life. And I was thinking no, it's not hard at all having to travel in today's age. We get into beautiful cars. If it's hot, we've got the AC. Yeah, and if it's whatever kind of weather it is, whether it's cold, we've got heaters. So we get out of a house. Sometimes we're lucky enough that we've even got things that come and pick us up. Don't even have to drive. Okay, so that's how we travel nowadays. And I was thinking that people say to us, "Kinni aukhi hai tada kam?" I was like, no, it's not. Ask Guru Nanak Dev Ji Patsha and ask Bhai Mardana Ji. So when we've made these things up, when often you'll hear certain pracharaks as well constantly saying this about Bhai Mardana Ji. Bas Bhai Mardana Ji nu ta bhukhi lagi rendi si. Bhai Mardana Ji ta bas ehi kende sige ki mainu kite jagah mil jave rehn waste. Of course he should be asking for some food. Of course he should be asking for somewhere decent to stay. Because if you imagine now during that time, most of India, it wasn't built up. It was mainly it was jungle area. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji used to walk. I've not read in history where Guru Nanak Dev Ji travelled on horses. And most of the places where Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji went, they walked. So imagine now, whoever's been to India, when it's in June, July, forget June, July, whoever's been in April, how hot it is, how difficult it is. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji travelled in that weather, having no shelter. So imagine when they're walking, the sun would set, and they would sometimes have to just stop off wherever they are, and that could be just in the middle of nowhere, where there's literally nothing around them. But often when they would travel, they'd try and travel along rivers, so they'd always have access to doing Ishnan in the morning, so they'd always pick those type of routes as well. And Bhai Mardana Ji, when they would actually ask for food, it'd be after 2 to 3 days when they didn't really have a proper meal from anywhere. It's normally because they had just been picking fruits from jungles as they were traveling. So I think Bhai Mardana Ji, definitely had a right after that to ask, are we going to get a proper meal and go to a house somewhere? Because imagine if it's cold, there's frost, it's raining, and then they would have to just stop off wherever they are. So that's how they travelled. So now it's just trying to picture this. And when I picture this, I get really emotional thinking how easy we've got it today. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji left their family, their children that were so young to do this. And then, so just like that, Bhai Mardana Ji's thinking that we're going to go somewhere built up now. But no, they're in the same type of setup again, in the outskirts, around jungles. Few days have passed. Bhai Mardana Ji's like, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, kuch khaan vaste. I really would like something to eat. But this time Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, go, but be careful. Kehinde ja par tu khayal na jaye. So Bhai Mardana Ji went off, saw this beautiful house. Everything looked very mysterious about this house. He walks in and he finds a woman there in that house. And Bhai Mardana Ji asks for some food. And she said, yeah, I'll cook you some food, I'll make you some food. Come inside. But as Bhai Mardana Ji went inside to that house, she comes forward to Bhai Mardana Ji. She starts reading something. She starts to utter something, some mantra, and then she manages to put something around Bhai Mardana Ji's neck, a taga of some sort. And as soon as this taga goes around Bhai Mardana Ji's neck, and as she keeps reading something, Bhai Mardana Ji all of a sudden starts to think and feel he's a ram. And he started to act like this, like a ram. So some of our history writes that Bhai Mardana Ji was hypnotized at that time and had no power over himself anymore. But some of our ithaskar actually write, like the Bharatan Janam Sakhi, they actually write that she actually turned Bhai Mardana Ji into a physical ram. But by Veer Singh Ji, so what I'm going to do throughout these lectures, I'm going to keep throwing these names at you. Okay, so the Puratan Janam Sakhi does, which is famous and is called as Velayati Janam Sakhi, which is one of the oldest ones, writes that Bhai Mardana Ji was actually changed into a ram. So does Bhai Kavi Santokh Singh. He writes the same, that said that Bhai Mardana Ji was actually changed into a ram. Bhai Veer Singh and Gyani Gyan Singh is another one of our historians who was around in the late 1800s. He actually went out to this place of Kamrup to try and find out a little bit more about what this place is like. From his research, he's saying that it seems as if it would have been more of like hypnotism, and Bhai Mardana Ji would have felt like he's a ram. So Bhai Mardana Ji feels completely powerless now, and she's gone off and left Bhai Mardana Ji like this, tied him up, and she's gone out. She's put a kada on her head, and she's put this clay pot on her head to go and get some water from the local well. She's left by Mardana Ji. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, after a while, is thinking, oh, aaya hi nahi. You know, kinna chir lagda roti khan vaste. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pach ne antar dhyan dhariya. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pach Ji focused within, and they saw that Bhai Mardana Ji is actually in trouble. So Guru Sahib Ji went towards Bhai Mardana Ji themselves. When Guru Sahib Ji got to this place, Guru Sahib Ji saw this woman, and she had come back by that time with the pot on her head, and she's come back with the water. ਤਾਂ Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pach Ji ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਡਾ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ? And she lied to Guru Sahib Ji, and she said, ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਿਆ. She said, no, I've not seen anybody, nobody's come here. Soon as she said this, Guru Sahib Ji ਉੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਲੋਕ ਉਚਾਰਿਆ, but which isn't in Gurbani. And Guru Sahib Ji basically said to that woman, and they said, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ this isn't the way that you please your husband. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਤੀ ਦੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕਰੀਦੀ. And as soon as Guru Sahib Ji said this to her, she tried to take the pot off her head, and she couldn't lift that pot off her head. Remember, these are women that have accumulated so many magical powers, and with the mantras that they have been given and been taught to recite. So she's not been able to now. She can't take this pot off her head. So then she obviously starts to tell a few other women that my jantar mantar, what I'm doing isn't working on this Baba for some reason. I don't know what's going on. So then she sends a message out, and this message then now gets back to who's in charge, who's above, who's the empress of Kamrup, of this place, that has taught them all of this. So what she said was, she sent loads of women there. She got all these women now that have all powerful in their own way, have all got these magical powers, and they all came rushing towards Guru Nanak Dev Ji Padshah Ji, and they all tried their magical powers on Guru Padshah Ji. By this time, Guru Sahib Ji had spotted Bhai Mardana Ji and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Padshah Ji, as per what Bhai Kavi Santokh Singh writes and Puratan Janam Sakhi writes. They said to Bhai Mardana Ji, they said, Mardane bol Vaheguru. Kende Vaheguru bol ta matha tek. They said, bow your head, and they said, say Vaheguru. And Bhai Mardana Ji, at that moment, soon as they saw and they put their eyes in the eyes of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Padshah, he was able to utter Vaheguru Ji. As he was able to say the word Vaheguru, he went down and he fell at the feet of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Padshah Ji, and he came out of this spell. As he came out of this spell, he got away, he got himself out of, from however he was tied up. He came and sat with Guru Sache Padshah Ji. By that time, loads of women had appeared, and they're all trying their magic tricks on Guru Sache Padshah, but nothing is working. And they're surprised and thinking, why isn't anything working? But Guru Sahib Ji, look, they didn't give up their way. Not once at that point did Guru Sahib Ji try and come away from there as well and think, let's escape and leave these women to be and they are. Kabir Ji slok, a beautiful slok by Kabir Ji. Kabir Ji says, Kabir santana shadde sante. Je kotik mile asant. They actually give a definition of a sant. In so many places today, so many people today question that is the word sant in Gurbani even used for an actual person. Guru Bhagat Kabir is given a description. They said a sant is that person that doesn't give up his sante, give up his qualities, his ways. No matter even if he's got kotik mile a sant. The kotik means millions of people that are opposite that person. So you know sometimes we're around a certain group and they're a certain way and they're able to influence us and they're able to bring us down and take us away. But they said no, not a sant. They said nobody is able to influence a sant. That's what makes a sant. A sant can remain and be amongst this society that is completely corrupt, but they won't be affected even one little bit. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji completely unaffected, but they actually start to do their magic. And what was the magic that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji did? What do you think was the magic that Guru Nanak Dev Ji did? What did Guru Sahib Ji do at that time? What did they say to Bhai Mardana Ji? What was that santali way that they didn't even give up, even being there? Imagine now being in that place. It must have been so spooky and weird. You know, imagine being in this place, all these women practicing this witchcraft, whatever it is that they did. They're trying to turn you into all sorts. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji sits there and decides to do what?
Right.
What did Guru Nanak Dev Ji love doing? Singing. Guru Nanak Dev Ji starts to sing a shabad. This was the shabad that Guru Nanak Dev Ji sang first when all these women gathered. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji starts to sing that Gunvanti Sahoravaya Nirgun Kuke Kaye. Guru Sahib Ji saying the virtuous bride enjoys her husband Lord. Why does the unworthy one cry out? Kande je Gunvanti thi rahe ta pi Sahoravan jaye. The Guru Sahib Ji kende if she were to become virtuous, then she too could enjoy her husband Lord. Kende mera kant risalu ki tan avra rave ji. Kende my husband Lord is loving and playful. Why should the soul bride enjoy anyone else? Karani kaman je thiye je man dhaga hoye. If the soul bride does good deeds and strings them on the thread of her mind, manik mul na paiye lije chit paroye. She obtains the jewel which cannot be purchased for any price, strung upon the thread of her consciousness. As Guru Sahib Ji sang this shabad and all the women came to realize that what we're doing, this person is way more powerful than us, they all went back to the empress of that place of Kamrup and said, I think it's time that you come down yourself now. So she actually made her way down as well. And in Itihas, her name comes up as Noor Shah. Not all our Itihas, our historians have actually written her name. So Noor Shah comes down herself. When she came and when even her tricks and her magical powers and whatever she tried, even when they wouldn't work. And it was at that point Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji looked at her and saw that what state she has come to be in. And this is where Guru Nanak Dev Ji then sang this shabad, which we call Kuchaji. So this may not have been sang. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji could have just been speaking out this to her as well. Okay? But one thing I want everyone to keep in mind now, for a moment we're going to get lost in the actual Bani itself, and we'll keep the story in the back of our mind, but we're going to kind of switch that now and feel as if Guru Nanak Dev Ji is talking to us. And let's put Noor Shah aside for a little while. And let's put ourselves in her place now. Because the way Guru Sahib Ji goes through this shabad, there's what we call, Guru Sahib Ji ne apne aap nu sambodhan karke is shabad ucharya. Does anybody know what that means? What I just said there? Because the reason that these type of terms you'll often hear in kathas, and people like Gyani Pindarpal and everyone else, they will say these things very often. So what that means is apne aap nu sambodhan karke. Any of the things that actually chill out with me, Veerji?
Tested it on themselves almost.
Yes, so they've uchard the shabd as if they're saying it to themselves. So they're bringing it upon themselves and then they've said this shabad out. But actually it's meant for us. Okay, so it's in Rag Suhi. Not going to go into the details of Suhi Rag. If anybody does want to know more about Suhi Rag, it's on the channel already in the Nand Karaj Kathas. So Mahalla Pahila just means that this Bani is by Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji and Guru Sahib Ji start off with the Mangalacharan of Ek Onkar Sadgur Prasad. So this, telling us what rag it's in and which Guru Sahib Ji's Bani is and what the Bani is called, this is called a Sarlek. Okay? So that bit's called the Sarlek, and this bit here is called the Mangalacharan. Okay? So Ek Onkar Sadgur Prasad. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji, before starting this Bani, they're saying that this Bani is being uttered with the Kirpa, with the grace. Prasad means, Kirpa means grace. And again, the Katha in detail of what Prasad means is already on our channel in the Shabdazare Kathas. And then they're saying by the grace of my Satguru. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Satguru being Akal Purkh. It's a referring to Akal Purkh here. So the word Kuchaji. Anybody actually heard this word at home and stuff? Who's heard this word before? Just, alright. Alright. So
okay, when I'm doing roti, when I first started, Mum would be like, "Oh, you made it like a Kuchaji."
So you'd actually hear that word. So you actually heard the word Kuchaji. I actually, like growing up, I've grown up in a household where there was like Thet Punjabi spoke. Thet Punjabi means like, deep Punjabi. But I didn't hear the full word. I've never heard Kuchaji. So I've always heard part of the word. So, but when that was said to you, Penji, so did you know what it meant? Did you know what they're saying to you?
Yeah, you knew it was bad because it was all over. So I knew it was not good.
Okay. So was it very like kind of the shape of the roti of the Naksha of India?
Yeah, nearly.
All right, ठीक है. So who can put this word into a sentence, and who can break this word up? What word does this come from? What's the original word? What's the origin of this word? Because this is made up of two words.
Judge.
Sorry, हाथ उत्ते करके यार, पर बच्चे थोड़ो. All right, no, hands up.
It would be ku and chaj.
Okay,
Yeah, ku
so
is like
that's how we split them up, huh? So it's two words, ku and then chaj. Now, who's heard that word then? So in Punjabi, this word comes from chaj with a adak. So that's adak makes the word stronger. Without the adak, it would be soft. It'd just be chaj. So with the adak, it'd be chaj. Yeah, hear the difference? And then in Sanskrit as well, it's called Chirayavati. Yeah, I said it. Okay. डर होंदा कई बारी उन्हें आके कि बोल भी सकूंगा मैं. All right, yeah, there you go. Means the same thing though. Okay. So what does the word chaj mean now? Now who's heard this in a sentence said to them at home? Okay, friends, you want to give us a sentence with the word chaj in it and what it means?
It means doing something properly. So judge and uncle.
Okay, yeah. So how many times we've all heard something like this? So like chaj nahal kar, just like Benji said. So there we go. So chaj means like proper method, knack, skill, manner, rules of conduct, virtuous living, good manners. This translation, all these translations now, I've taken from an app called Punjabi Kosh, which can actually be found online as well. So you don't have to have the app for it, but you can go online for this as well. Who's heard of Punjabi Kosh? There's a few of you, okay? Brilliant app. I use it all the time, okay? So there's another similar one to that, which is called Shabad Kosh. So Shabad Kosh is an app with all of the words of Gurbani. Punjabi Kosh is obviously all of the words with the Punjabi words, okay? You type in the Punjabi word and you'll just come up with loads of different ways of explaining that word, okay? So we all know what chaj means. So now, ku is one of the many letters that just negates a word, that makes it the opposite, okay? So like we've got in Gurbani, we'll have be, so be muhtaj, the word is actually muhtaj, and when we put the be in front of it, it makes the word the opposite. So we've got now ko chaj. So this has been translated by Sant Singh Khalsa, which is like the translations that we normally see on Sikhi to the Max. Some of the Sikhi to the Max translations have been updated. So the base is Sant Singh Khalsa, but then the Sikhi to the Max things have actually altered some of the translations of these as well. So over here now, so this is referring to, in the context of this Bani, Guru Sahib is saying that it's that bride that hasn't got the virtues or does not have the way to win over her husband's love. So this is what you got to keep in mind now when we go through this Bani. So this is what this Bani is about. A Kuchaji is that woman that just didn't know how to win her husband's heart. she just couldn't get anything right. She just didn't know how to do it, go about it. This language, according to Gyani Harbant Singh, so who's written something called, which is in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Darshan Nirnay, so which is a steek, which is he's done a complete explanation of Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Bani. Somebody called Gyani Harbant Singh. This is one of our latest Punjabi explanations of Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Bani, and he's from Patiala, which I think he's still alive. He's well in his 90s now. Yeah, so very blessed Gurmukh Pyara. I'd like to meet him actually. So just make sure he's still alive though first. So he, according to Gyani Harbant Singh, he's saying that the language used in this Bani, why we find it difficult when we hear some of the words in this Bani, as you'll know, come to learn, he's saying it's Multani, or you can call it Lendi Pasha it's called, and which is a dialect of Punjabi spoken in and around Multan in southwest, so southwest of undivided Punjab, which now is in Pakistan. So ਉੱਥੇ ਦੀ ਬੋਲੀ ਆ, according to Gyani Harbant Singh, which I think is a very good source. Okay. Professor Sahib Singh says something completely different. Professor Sahib Singh doesn't even mention and feel that this Bani was uchard and recited all the way in Assam and have the Sakhi behind it at all. Professor Sahib Singh says that in Guru Granth Sahib Darpan, who wrote an explanation of Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Bani, which is available on media as well, and which is available on a lot of apps as well. It's probably one of the most used explanations in Punjabi of Gurbani in time at the moment by Professor Sahib Singh. And he's saying this is exactly how he's written it. He's saying that it seems like this Bani has been recited during the rainy season, June to August, in Gurdaspur. Gurdaspur now is nowhere near Assam or nowhere near Multan. So like imagine that. So these are all saying very different things here. So what all the Pratan Janam Sakhi are saying, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is now where Bangladesh is. This is where this is taking place. Professor Sahib Singh reckons that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is sitting in some fields in Gurdaspur. It's a rainy season and he's watching over farmers sitting under mango trees. So it's not necessarily that Maharaji only like recited that Bani in one place. They could have been in many places when they recited that same Bani. Okay, and don't think that Professor Sahib Singh's just taken a shot in the air and this is like really random. You'll understand why he feels strongly about this as we go through the Bani. So let's get onto the Bani itself. So he starts off with Bani Kuchaji amavan dosade ho kyo sohravan jaye jiyo. Who got any of that? As soon as we've read that line, who's thinking, I know what that means? So now, just before we go on, I want to make this clear that please don't feel that I'm picking on anyone or that I'm testing you guys to put anyone down. And the reason why I'm going to take this style, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to get you guys to guess a lot of things. The reason for that is, what I have found is, when we've done this method in the past, when we're getting people to think, we're getting them to guess, afterwards they'll remember what that word means. Okay? So please don't feel that I'm picking on anyone. Okay? This is just a very good method of it sticking and it going in when you're trying to guess something. Okay? So I'll say this line again slowly. That Bani Kuchaji amavan dosade ho kyo shohravan jaye jiyo. Anyone got anything out of that? So everyone got Kuchaji out of there? Everyone understands what Kuchaji means? Yeah, because we've just gone through it. Okay, who's going to give it a shot at what manya means? It's a difficult word to say anyway, because you've got a tippi and then you've got a nyanya, which is said from the top of your tongue. So manya, nya, manya. Who wants to try and say it first? Okay. What does manya mean? Anyone? Benji? Yeah, there you go. She got it right the first time. As soon as she said me, sorry.
I was reading the translation.
Okay. So there you go. Manya actually literally means me. In this context, it's going to be I am. Okay, so Guru Nanak Dev Ji, remember what did we say? Apne aap nu sambodhan. They're talking to themselves. Okay, but teaching someone else something. Okay, so this is I am. So everyone, we all got Kuchaji now, yeah? And then Amavan is a... So now we understand why this is so difficult, because the dialect is completely different. Okay? So we'll go through it. Okay? Amavan comes from a word called Mavan, which means to sama in Punjabi and which means to absorb. So remember what so this is another letter that negates a word, and Ada does that very often in Gurbani's word, is negating it. Amavan means something that cannot be absorbed. So basically, in this context, in this Bani, saying to us countless. Okay? Man Kuchaji Amavan dosare. It doesn't mean what most of us enjoy eating. Yeah. I actually got to go South India to Bangalore and eat South Indian food where it's originated from. So I got to have a masala dosa from where it comes from. Okay. But it doesn't mean dosa, guys. Okay. So what does this word come from? What's the closest Punjabi word? Do you think that comes to this word? Dosare. I'll start breaking it down and then get closer. The one that's cheating, Benji, do you want to say? No, you're allowed to cheat, guys. I'm joking. I've cheated. I remember I've studied it first.
Was it false or ill-mannered or something like that?
See, that's what happens when we're only reading the literal English translation. Sorry?
Is it like dusra?
No. Okay.
It's like dosh.
Yes. Okay. So, everyone heard the word dosh? Who's heard the word dosh? Oh, doshi ya. Odete dosh lagga ya. Okay? That's where this word dosare comes from. So it can mean all of these things: fault, flaw, offense. Okay? And that is accordingly to Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Gurmukhi English dictionary provided by Harjinder Singh Gill. So, guys, you can obviously make note of all of these resources, and if you guys wanted to do research for yourselves, let's keep it. You can make a note of where I would get my when I do my research, where I go. And then in the Punjabi Kosh, it says blame, accusation, shortcoming, mistake, blemish, demerit, according to Sant Singh Khalsa. Okay, so now we all know what dosare means. It comes from the word dosh. See how much difference it can make to just where Guru Nanak Dev Ji, what dialect they've used to recite what Bani in. Kyo, did I translate this one? Yeah, there you go. So what would most of you have thought kyo means? Why? Majority times in Gurbani, from what I've seen, I would say, this is a random percentage I'm going to throw at you, probably 80 to 90%, it means how, so don't get caught out. When like Maharaj is saying like Akhan, Jiva, Visre Mar Jaun, and then Akhan Auka Sacha now, so Kyon Visre Meri Mai. It doesn't mean that why shall I separate from my Waheguru. It's actually saying how can I, meaning it's impossible for me to. Okay? So Kyo means how most of the time in Gurbani. A few times I have found it to be why as well. Okay? This is a beautiful one. Who knows this word? So as it's written, it's pronounced Soho. And I will tell you a few differences of parts as well within the Panth. So there's some grammatical way of pronunciation, how some of our Panth pronounce Gurbani, and how then some of our Panth pronounces Gurbani as it's written without any changes. Okay, so it's good for you guys to be aware of this, that it's out there. Don't ask me which one's right or wrong. That's not what we're here to do. Okay. So what does Soho mean? It comes up in Gurbani a lot. See if you can learn some of these words. Okay, like you're never going to see anywhere else Maharaj saying Amavan or Dosare, but you'll see Dosh all the time, but not with a bindi. You'll see be as Dos. Dos comes up all the time, meaning Dosh. Okay, so these words are very important. Home comes up a lot. Kyo all the time. Soho comes up a lot as well. What does Soho mean?
But Soho means like Osnu.
नहीं जी, इत्थे नहीं. ज़्यादा करके इहदा ये नहीं मतलब हुंदा. So like even like Soho. So sometimes Maharaji will, when it's spelled with a sassa hora, so which would be so, then Maharaji would be referring to as in that person, oh banda, oh budi, whatever. Yeah, but when it comes with a ha, it doesn't mean, it's not saying so, that person, oh. So literally, it means husband. And a lot of the times in Gurbani, you'll see in the translations, husband, Lord, yes. But literally, don't get confused, it doesn't literally mean husband, Lord, it just means just husband. And how is the word said in Punjabi then? Is a word very commonly used, shaw. Shaw. And they'll say, Mera shaw pati. Pati everyone's heard of? Pati meaning husband. So that it was they'd say it together, Mera shaw pati. Okay? So now I'm going to just tell you a bit of a difference in pronunciations within the Panth, okay? So like I said, you've got that part of the Panth will not change it and stick to and say so. But then you'll hear some people actually say, so they would say Manj Kuchaji Amavan Dosade, that's where the pause goes. Then they would put a bindi on the ho, because that's how it is in Punjabi, the translation. They would say ho, then they would say ho kyun shoh. They'd say show, they'd actually say as it is. Okay, they'd add the bindi there. The ho kyo shoh ravana jai jiyu. Okay, so we're getting familiar with some of these words now. Remember these words because they're going to keep coming up in Gurbani again and again, especially this word show and ho. Okay, all right. So Ravan comes up a lot in Gurbani as well. So Ravan means pogan lay, manan lay, to enjoy. But then internally, when I've got something in brackets, it means it's the pav arth. Pav arth means in this context it actually means this. So it's not the literal translation. So it means to enjoy. But when Maharaji is using this word Ravan, they're using it in a very intimate way when they're saying to enjoy something. Okay? And you'll get to learn this about Guru Nanak Dev Ji. You know how people say, I'd love to know about Guru Nanak Dev Ji. What's the first thing most of us would do when we want to learn something about Guru Nanak Dev Ji? What's the common thing that'll come to our mind? Let's listen to a Sakhi. But if you really want to get to know Guru Nanak Dev Ji, read Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Bani and get to know it and look into the details of how they used certain words. And then we'll understand what they mean by Ravan and what they mean actually by enjoying here, how intimately they're using this word. Okay, so now let's put this together. So they've used that Bani Kuchaji, I'm ill-mannered. We'll just use that as a loose translation, but everyone understands now what we're referring to as Kuchaji. Remember how we said somebody that wasn't able to win over a husband, huh? So this saying Bani Kuchaji is saying to you, remember now let's take this to ourselves, and saying that I don't have the virtues to please you. That because why? Because I'm full of endless faults. So Man Kuchaji, me Kuchaji, I'm a Kuchaji, I'm Mavan, Dosade. I've got so many dosh, I've got so many faults, so many demerits that they're Mavan, that they're endless, they're countless. Sama means when something, you can't put something inside of you because there's no space. Saying I can't fit them all inside of me, I've got so many. Saying that Man Kuchaji, I'm Mavan, Dosade. Now is the question. So it's saying how? Kyun shohravana jai jiyu? How can I go to enjoy, please you, be one with you in this state, my husband Lord? It's that question. Saying, oh my husband Lord, oh Vaheguruji. So when we're now referring to show, when we're referring to pati, we're referring to husband, here is talking from a perspective of a soul bride talking to our husband Lord Vaheguruji. Okay, but to understand it, we can think of it in that way as well, of an actual husband-wife relationship. So she's saying how? Look how we've translated the word Ravan here. Ravan actually is saying that, how can I please you? How can I be one with you? Ravan is, when Guru Nanak Dev Ji talks about Ravan, they often talk about being intimate with Vaheguruji. When they talk about being intimate with Vaheguruji, they actually talk about merging with Vaheguru and being one. They're asking a question now, how can I become one with you? In the state I'm in, look at the mess I'm in. But whenever I personally look through Gurbani, so what I'll do is, I'll look at it literally first, then I'll look at it on what it means spiritually, internally, from the perspective of my soul, And then I'll bring it to my life to think that where am I in this equation? Am I this Kuchaji? Am I actually failing at the moment? Am I actually not able to please my husband Lord, which could be my guru, who could be looked upon as my guru? But this is something amazing she's doing in this. What really struck me is that she's not being, just think of the right word. So she's not saying, well, you know, I don't care. This is the way I am. You know, I know I've got faults, but I don't really, it's not that attitude. This Shabad is actually beautiful, even though it's in a perspective of a Kuchaji, of somebody that is failing, but it's actually a beautiful Shabad, because she's saying that how hard is it to admit and look inside to say, I have got faults. She's already taken a huge step. This is a huge step to take. How many people do that in their life? They actually want to talk themselves out of that it's me, that I have got this sitting inside of me. I have got this devil. I have the devil of Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Mohankar. Yeah, I'm full of Krodh. And I literally mean that, you know, and that's the truth. I'm not a Santa, I've not conquered it. Yeah, but it's so difficult to take that step and say that. So this now, think of the whole Bani now in this mode of this soul bride actually saying, I want to do better, but I'm just stuck. Stuck in what? Because remember, at the moment, she's only taken the first step. She's only said, I have got faults. She's not saying that I want to solve my problem yet. She's not saying I want to take that next step now. She's not even spoke about her actual problems, what they are. So now coming on to the next line. This is a very beautiful, humbling line this is. Okay? So this is a saying, a Punjabi saying. Okay? So we can't, obviously we can look at them individually. Everyone knows ek means one. Do, everyone knows what do means? Sorry? Don't be shy, it does mean do, don't worry. Okay? We're not trying to catch you out. It does mean two, okay? But it doesn't just mean two on its own, it means do, ton. So let's try and go through it a little bit, and why. And this now will start telling us, remember, look, there's ek here and there's ek here. I'm going to treat you like kids now. Par fark ki hai na donna de vich? What's the difference? Sorry? One's, this got an extra sehari, but you don't, but that's a silent sehari. So why would Maharaji add a sehari there, but you don't pronounce it? Why is that sehari if it's silent? Hanji? There you go. So it changes it into plural, the second one. That sehari is grammar. You don't pronounce it, but it's telling us what it is. So it makes it into Bahuvachan, which is called plural. So this is a saying, ek do ek. So do here mean like do as in, it can mean two, but here it doesn't mean two. Okay? So when I said that, you're not wrong, that it does mean two, but in some parts of Gurbani, but not here. In this context, it means don, it means from. Okay? And then ek here is plural for meaning many or meaning other. So now, as a saying, trying to put it together the best we can. And then chadandiya means chadke, vadke, hor vi vadiya, or like, you know, so more ascending, better, more virtuous. Okay? So then, as a saying, then it could be what Singh said, that each of his soul brides is better than the rest. I wasn't very happy with that, you know. So this now, again, bringing us to another point why we're doing these sessions, it will show like having those English translations that we're used to seeing, they're good, but they've got a lot of improvement to be made on them as well. They are, even though they're literal, but even some of the literal translations are wrong. So be very careful. Sometimes they completely miss words that are in that line. So if you don't know Gurmukhi or Punjabi at all, you won't even know that you're being done. You won't even know that a word has been missed and not translated. Okay? So be careful. So that just prompts you to learn Gurmukhi. Okay? I found Bhai Manmohan Singh's translation to be a better translation. Okay? his translations are a bit more Shakespearean and Old English, okay, his style of writing. So what he writes is, amongst my spouse's brides, one is better than the other. So do you guys get this saying? Are you getting it now? Ek do ek, like dujji to dujji vi vad ke a. When I look at this one, I'm thinking, wow. Then I see her, then I think, oh my God, she's even better than her. Then I turn around and think, oh my, she's better than even the last one I just saw. You know? So it's kind of like, that's what that saying means. Ek do ek charan diya. Okay? And then there's another question. Kaun jane mera naam jiyo? And they're saying, look how humble this is. Look how stuck this bride feels. She's saying that, oh my God, when I look around and I see all these, they ain't gonna know my name. Who's gonna know me amongst all of these? No one. I'm a nobody in front of all of these. Yeah. The way this made me think it brings to me my mind when I think of how close am I to my Guru, and then I think of then people like Bhai Fauja thing comes to my mind, and people like Bibi Balwant Kaur comes to my mind, and people like Bhagat Pooran Singh comes to my mind, and then it just makes me realise that, wow, I'm a lot further than I actually think I am sometimes. कई बार आप अपने आप नू मना लीदा ना कि मैं पता नहीं I'm doing so well, मेरे किन्ने लग गए मेरे गुरु दे, मैं किन्ना करदा हां पंथ लई, that you know what, Guru Sahib ji must be happy with me. Then I look at Bhai Fauja Singh, then I look at Bibi Balwant Kaur and look at Bhagat Pooran Singh, and then you just start to think, my name ain't going to be known amongst them. I'm a nobody. Who's going to know me amongst these? And I'm not going to go into their jeevanis, but mera ta inna de darshan karke loohi khadi ho jandi hai, just looking at their pictures. And my English isn't brilliant, by the way, guys, you know, so you can correct me afterwards on my grammar and stuff, but I've just put it in very simple words. Jinnik mein nahi hondi hai, main padhiya nahi wala. Like that, saying this is how I feel about this pankti, and saying who knows my name? That no one knows my name in my husband Lord's house. All the soul brides sitting there are so spiritually elevated. One is better than the other. Oh, kithe diyan kithe pahunchiyan ruhan. Guru Sahib ji saying that jini sakhi shor aveya say ambi shavdiye hai jiyo. So again, it's that dialect, some of these words, the way they are spelled, shavdiye hai. And Ravya we all know now. It's the same as what we just went through before, which it came up as what before?
Enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy. So what did we translate then? Enjoy to spiritually though? Yeah, to merge, to start becoming one with Vaheguruji. But and we'll go into like how intimate Guru Nanak Dev Ji starts to actually talk, and how Guru Nanak Dev Ji sees Vaheguruji to be. Okay, so what word? Sakhi. Everyone here, anyone here knows what Sakhi means? Okay, so Saheli, yes? Okay. So Sakhi comes from the word Saheli, which is a female friend, a companion. But so what does that mean? So you'll see this come up a lot in Gurbani, Sakhi. So what do you think it means in spiritually? Internally, what does Guru Sahib Ji actually mean? So what we call the bhav, so it actually means that has actually that soul bride that has won over Vaheguruji. And then sometimes Maharaji refers to sakhiyan, plural, which is talking about a whole load of them, which is then you'll often see translated in English as holy companions. So you know, like the Sangha Roop sisters, because we're all referred to as like brides, our soul brides. So then internally we all become soul bride sisters, because we're all sisters internally trying to get to Vaheguruji. Okay, so in that sense, like, so you'll see the word Sakhiya come up as well. So Sakhiya here, and then everyone knows the word Amb. Yes, Pata hai na sare nu. I've already put the translation up because it's something obvious, hai na? But it's got a Bihari. So Ambi then means an unripe mango. Okay, but then so over here it doesn't. So over here it just it makes it plural. It means ambadi, like, or many ambadi. Okay, so you get what I mean when I say ambadi? Yeah? So you put that into a sentence like that, ambadi tokri, so a basket of mangoes. Okay. Shavadi ye hai. Okay, so the word Shah, so when you first look at it, it just totally throws you off. But all we have to do sometimes is just like break it down a bit. Shavadi ye hai, shade of what? Ambi shavadi ye hai, that cool shade sitting under the mango trees. See how beautiful this Guru Sahib Ji's poetry and Bani is. We don't get to appreciate it sometimes. And we often even go to like other Western philosophy books, or we go to Western writers and stuff like that to try and find these beautiful words of poetry. But Guru Sahib Ji has done the same. So now this pankti here, Guru Sahib Ji saying, is referring to that those brides who enjoy their husband Lord are very blessed, resting in the shade of the mango tree. Who wants to make sense of that? So that translation is by Sant Singh Khalsa. Who wants to try and understand what's being said here? What does it mean to be resting under the mango tree? What's that? What does that signify? What's that actually trying to say?
It's kind of like they are protected, like how the Shah or the shade protects you from the the bright sun. So this would be like the sufferings or so. And this is, I think, the happiness, the internal happiness, or so they feel always protected. They are in God's or in Lord's protection.
Okay. Yeah. So now this is okay. One sec. So this is one of them panktiyan now that are open to interpretation. Because even when we read our steeks, our in-depth explanations, even they have come up with different theories of what this could mean. Some of them have even gone as far as saying what the mango represents, what the shade itself actually represents. So if anybody wants to try and, so that's a very beautiful way of looking at it as well. Benji saying, so the shadow is like that sense of protection, that sharan, that sanctuary. Baji, what would you say?
Positive reading. So it could have been any tree, but it's not a mango tree. So as well as giving you shade,
Mm-hmm.
gives you fruit as well, gives you sweetness of a mango.
Okay. Excellent. So just keep in mind, the word Shah, so it's giving you the Shah, so that. But does anybody see any other way? So how we're looking at now, the way we're just looking at it here is to say that soul bride that has made Wahiguruji happy, or and that soul bride has now got that shade, that calmness. But do you think that it could mean a different thing in a different way?
Could it mean just keep the heat of the desires at bay?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're not allowed to go, Virji, because we've already done Vichar on this. Okay. There's another twist. We can twist it a little bit to look at it a different way. What was he going to say?
I might be wrong though.
There's no right or wrong here, because even when the Steeks don't agree, in the sense not agree, when they've even given different ways of looking at it, it just means it all depends on how wherever we are at the moment and however we see it.
This goes back to the beginning when you were saying that there's two versions of it.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was sitting under the shade of the mango tree whilst looking at the soul brides enjoying their husband? I don't know.
I'll just give you a few versions. That what Gyani Harbant Singh said, he's saying that those soul brides that have won the love of their husband Lord, have the shade of the mango tree. The shade meaning have become free from anxiety, stress and worry. So they found that inner peace. That's what Freed Court says, something very similar. Freed Court Steek says that the mangoes being satsang. So they're saying that the mangoes are actually satsang.
Mango, the fruits themselves, was it?
Yeah, so the fruits themselves are the satsang. This is how Freed Court Steeks has looked at it. And they said, then they've actually said, this is all good qualities. So you're protected by your good qualities. and the shade being peace and contentment. So when you've got virtues, you'll feel at peace. Yeah, so the mangoes being virtues, and then you feel at peace, and then the shade being just in complete contentment. There's one way that I was really thinking about this, and you know how referring back to them, just quickly going back to and thinking about people like this, keeping them in mind. And when I was looking at this, and I thought that of Mata Kiviji as well, that now instead of like how we're saying that soul bride is under that tree and feels that soothing and feels that calmness, the way I looked at it was that, you feel, if you go to someone that has found that, yeah, so if you go to a Sakhi, so Jini Sakhi Shauravya, say Ambi, she becomes that shade for you. Do you see what I'm saying? So now, it's not that, I'm not saying to look at it in the sense of that the soul bride is under the shade. I'm saying that the soul bride has become the shade for other people, because she's got her husband. And how often have you experienced this? When somebody's so close to Waheguruji, and you're amongst them and you're around them, and your mind goes still, and you haven't got Vikar running in your head, you haven't got negative, evil thoughts running in your head. For that moment, you just feel soothed and calm. You feel safe that that they're showing you the way. Their presence, their aura, they become the shade for you. So, Jini Sakhi, Shauravya, those Sakhiyan, like people like Bhai Fauja Singh, these type of Gurseks, then Jini Sakhi Shauravya, that's already merged with Waheguruji. Se Ambi, they are those mangoes for you that are given the shade. And being around them, you can feel that calmness. Remember, whenever we do an art, there's no dawa to it. Dawa means there's no final to it. I'm not saying that's the only way to look at it, but there's a way. Gurbani even backs that up. Gurbani is saying that about Mata Kiviji, saying Balwand Kivi Nek Jan, Jis Bauti Shau Patrali, that Mata Kiviji became like the shadowing leaf to people. She was a noble being, meaning that when people went to Mata Kiviji, they just felt their inside burning just going away. Mataji gave that to them. She took away their anxieties. She was there for them to be able to talk to her about their problems. She gave them that opportunity. She was like that shadowing leaf. These noble beings, so this concept of looking at it like that is actually backed by Gurbani as well. That Mata Kiviji became like that. Gur Sikhan ke mukh ujjale, man mukh thiye parali. They're saying that Gur Sikhan ke, that this is what would happen is when somebody went to Mata Kiviji, the wife of Guru Angad Dev Ji, when people went to Mata Kiviji, Gurbani is saying that Gur Sikhan ke mukh ujjale, man mukh thiye parali, those manmukhs, those that were completely away from the path, their faces were completely pale, and they would have so much evilness inside, and they'll go to Mata Kiviji, but what would she do to them? Gur Sikhan should make them into Gurseks. Gur Sikhan ke mukh ujjale should make their faces shine. She had that ability. She was that shadowing leaf. She was that Ambi Shavadiye hai jiyo. So just different ways of looking at Gurbani, just to open your minds, to start playing with things and looking at and contemplating and looking deeper. Not just sitting in the morning and just kind of ticking a box and reading Gurbani. If you ever pick a Bani, just really dive into it and go into it as much as you can. So we got the next Bhangti. Guru Sahib is saying that Se gun manjna avani, how kaji dos treo jiyo. Again, what she's doing here is now very difficult. So I'll say she's perspective of a bride. So gun, most people know what the word gun means, comes up a lot obviously in Gurbani, meaning qualities, referring to good qualities. Man, we've got that word again, so that we had in the beginning. So, but over here it's saying that man, meaning in me. Okay. So over here, remember we've gone through the word dosh. So dosh can also mean to blame, to have like demerit against you and stuff, to have a blemish against you. But over here, literally the word dosh is to blame. So the word treo is to put onto someone else. Get it? So kisse te tarna, to put onto someone else, the blame. Okay? So over here, again, remember how I said, it's quite amazing, the emotion and from the place that she's speaking from here, this soul bride. So she's not trying to say here, well, you know what? She's not coming from that mode of I don't care. She's coming from that mode of like she's asking a question here and saying, look, the truth is that se gun manjna avani, those I haven't got those qualities inside of me. So you know how we said over here, man here means inside of me. He's saying I just haven't got those qualities that it takes to win over my husband. She's being real. She's admitting it. It's really difficult to be real. Saying se gun manjna avani. Then she says, ho kaji dosh treo jiyo. She says, look, how can I put the blame on someone else? How amazing is that? She's like actually saying that I'm not even going to try and put this on someone else. She's saying, I take responsibility. For me being in the state I am, it's my own fault. I just haven't got those qualities. And I'm not going to say it's because of this reason, it's because of that reason, it's because you're doing this to me. It's because if I didn't have this challenge, then I would be okay. She's saying, no, the truth is that I'm taking full responsibility of this. How can I blame someone else? If I'm getting angry, I can't say it's my children that are getting me angry. It means I just haven't got the capacity and the virtues and that tolerance level inside of me yet to be able to cope with that challenge. So this is an amazing place to be, saying it's me. Because how can we ever be things like anger, things like greed, if we keep saying, well, you know what, it's not my fault, they just keep putting all of those jalebi in front of me. What? Main ki kara? You know, not my, ask the jalebi. You know, it's not, so it's like, it's not doing that. She's saying, no, it's me. I've got that ras, I've got that taste for them. I can't help it. It's like that kind of thing, you know. But you know what, it's so difficult to admit that. But we cannot spiritually advance and move forward until we say this. And who else is going to teach us this other than Gurbani? And I know you're probably thinking, well, these things are taught nowadays if you go, this is what's taught in philosophy, this is what is taught if you go to counselling. And you know what? Isn't it amazing that our Guru Sahib Ji has spoke about all the philosophy within the world, all the counselling somebody could give us. It's all there. We just have to find it. But we can only find it if we start to read Gurbani and really give ourselves to Gurbani and contemplate on what our Guru is saying to us. Then we'll start realizing, I don't need to go to a counsellor, I don't need to go to there, I don't need to go there. My Guru is saying the same things. And then, Kya gun tere vithra ho, kya kinna tera naujud. So this is the pankti now that is showing us that actually this soul bride isn't so bad. She actually does want to get there, but she's just weak. These things are holding her down. Okay, she's not one of them. She's not, I wouldn't call her ungraceful as such. It means that there's a turning point in her already. Can you see that? The way she's thinking. But she's not still told us why she was a Kuchaji and what was holding her down, why she was so bad. She's going to tell us that yet. But at the moment, she's just saying, Kya gun tere vithra. Vithra basically means to explain, but to explain in detail. Vithra also means expanse, something very wide, vishal, what we say. We give a lot of detail of something. And kinna is another word that you won't really see. and that's why I'm just going through those words. Kinna means take, to say, to chant. Okay, lena in Punjabi de vich kinne da arth hai lena. So what is she saying here? She's saying that which of your virtues, O Waheguru Ji, should I speak of? Which of your names should I chant? And she's actually in awe. She is saying that Waheguru Ji, you are so amazing and great. You know, when we say that, that can be quite confusing, because then Guru Sahib Ji is saying we are to praise Waheguru Ji, we are to talk and contemplate on Waheguru Ji's gun, but she's saying which of you, kya gun tere vitra, which of your gun shall I explain? This is a very deep concept, this is, when we think about this. So she's asking this question, which one? How, what she's actually saying, how can I, is it even possible to actually go into detail of each of your virtues? And then she's saying, kya, which one, kinna, lema, take, tera, no. Which of your names shall I take? Because Waheguru's got many names. So what over here, this is actually saying is the first part of the gun, when she's saying that kya gun tere vitra, which gun can I actually explain with detail? Meaning I can't, why can't I? Because tere gun bahut hai, main ek na jaaniya. It's not to say that I can't say that Waheguru Ji, you are so compassionate, Waheguru Ji, you are so forgiving. I can say that, but it doesn't mean I know how deep Waheguru Ji's compassion is. Because Waheguru Ji's virtues are as deep as Waheguru Ji. If Waheguru Ji is limitless, that means that Waheguru Ji is there and compassion is limitless. So he's saying that tere gun bahut, you've got many. My ek na jani means, but I don't even know one of them. What does it mean that I don't even know one of them? It means that I don't even understand one of them, because even your virtues, your qualities are so deep. They're as deep as you, meaning they've got no limit to them. You know how when we say Waheguru Ji is compassionate, that everything's done in compassion, all of Waheguru Ji's system is working in compassion. Taul, Taram, Daya, Kaput. That everything is working in compassion. We don't always see that compassion, do we? When things happen to us in life, are we able to recognize in everything that happens to us in life, are we able to recognize compassion? Waheguru Ji's compassion in everything, every episode that happens in our life. Are we able to see the compassion in it? Sometimes we think, ki ho gaya? Ki tu kitta mere naal? I'm thinking, mere naal ye main ki kitta? Why are you doing this? Why have you done this? Why has this happened? Why? Because we're not able to see the compassion behind it. Why aren't we able to see the compassion behind it? Because Waheguru Ji's compassion is as deep as Waheguru, meaning it's limitless. We can never understand Waheguru Ji's compassion.
Well,
Sorry?
We would if we became Waheguru.
Yeah, that's the only way.
So that's gone out of like ignorance of that state.
Sorry? Everything runs out then. So this is at that level when you're obviously not there, but who's merged with Waheguru? Maharaj says that, you know, there's only even 1 in a million that are completely focused on Waheguru Ji at all times. Guru Sahib Ji's Bani says, Kotan mein Nanak Kau Narayan Jai Cheet. Cheet means focused, that completely become God conscious. Maharaj says, Kotan mein Kau, this is 1 in a million. Never mind merging with Waheguru, that is even become God conscious. So Guru Sahib Ji is saying, but this is amazing, because if you think about it, because sometimes we say, I don't get that. Of course we don't get it. We'll never get Waheguru Ji until Nadiyan Ate Va Pavahe Samund Na Janiye Hai. Only when we become at that level of Na Janiye Hai, of become a nobody and just let go completely and just go in and merge. Only then we're going to get it. It's not even about getting it then, we're going to be it. We're going to be it. Yeah? So, tere gun bahut, this is what this is saying, but this is amazing. So think about it. So in this Bani, the turning point is already there, but she's going to go back now to telling what her downfall was of being a Kuchaji. Kya gun tere vitra, ho kya kinna tera nao jiyon. But within this pankti, Sahib saying, Pranavat Nanak, sun mere sahiba dubda patthar lijay. So this is beautiful. It's starting to there's a realization here. Saying that, take me, save me. There's a hint of that coming through now. Remember I said she's not looking for solutions yet. But there's a hint of it coming through now. But just quickly, I'm not going to spend too long on this, what that part meant of her saying that, which of your names? Because how does all of Waheguruji's names come about? Why even in Jap Sahib, Guru Sahib ji says that, the word Sarbanam Kathe Kavan, Karmanam Sarbat. Guru Sahib ji says that, Karmanam, maaf karna, Barnat Somat. It says only, even this now, I've just taken the literal translation, but I'm going to put it into my own words. Guru Gobind Singh Ji is actually saying this in a lot of humility, beautifully saying that, Sarvanam, all your names, Kathe Kavan, how can I explain them? How can I go through all of them? Karmanam, this is what I can do is though, this is, you know, your Karmanam. Do you understand what Karmanam means? Anybody understand? Like here, as soon as it says Karmanam, what does Karmanam mean?
Doing things.
Sorry?
The action things.
Yes, so you know the names of Waheguruji that have come about from what Waheguruji has done. So give me an example of a name of Waheguruji that has come about from what Waheguruji has done, which is then called a Karmanam. Sorry? Dyalpurak.
Vaheguru, well, Guru means to take out of ignorance, so.
Rahim.
Yeah, Rahim, Kareem, yeah, Kirpalu, Dayalu, Jagdish, Gopal, Gobind. These are all names that have come about of Waheguruji from all the things that Waheguruji has done. She's saying that, Kya gun tere vitra ho, kya ke na tera nao jiyo. How can I go through everything you've done? She said, not just possibly, I just couldn't, it's impossible. Somebody beautifully said, and he's going into his imagination and saying, how would some of these names have occurred? So there's a name of Waheguru, as we know it as Hari. Hari's got two meanings. He took one meaning of Hari, this beautiful meaning of Hari, of Har. What's the one common meaning of Har? The common meaning Har da.
To take away, like, to harm.
So that's the second one that was going on to. Brilliant. So one meaning of Har means like Hare Kardana, to make something green, to make something blossom, to take somebody's inside that is withering away, that has become black with jealousy and everything else. Waheguruji is that Waheguruji that makes that person become Hara, that blossom, makes somebody blossom from inside. But then Har has come from the word Haran. You know, like we often hear, you know, Ravan ne Sita nu Haran kar liya. Haran means to steal, to take away, chori karna. Somebody beautifully said one day, how do Kirtam Naam come about? It's when Appagat, the devotee of Akal Purkh, is sitting there one day and saying, wow, Waheguruji, tu ta chor hai, tu ta haran vi karda hai. That you even take things away, tu ta chor hai. मैं किथे सी, look what I was. मैं एक दिन बैठा, मैं जदों शुरू कीती तेरी भजन बंदगी करन वास्ते, I started meditating on your name, I started walking upon the path of truth. At that time, I was full of calm, krodh, lobh, mohankar. I had all these things inside of me like anger, like greed, attachment. He says, Waheguruji, I've just realized, as you give yourself to you, I've realized that tu ta haran vi kar, tu ta chor vi hai ek, tu mera krodh ta kad ke le hi gaya. मैंने पता ही नहीं लगा किधरों किथे चल गया. That these evils inside of me, you've completely destroyed them and you've taken them away. And this is how some of these names come about. Somebody said very beautifully. So, Haran kar lena. This is how some of Waheguruji's names come about. And then she says that Ekat tol na ambada, how sad Gurbani tere jao jiyo. And then she's saying that Ekat, even through one, that's what Ekat means, even through one. So Ekat tol. This word tol, literally, it means search. Okay, but then also scholars have to fit it within this context of this pankti, that tol has also been translated to like the thing searched for, luxury, possession. So something we're kind of searching for, to have that luxury, to have, you know, something, that desirable thing. Okay, so tol can be looked at as in like things as well. Okay. But over here, what Gyani Harbant Singh Patiali Wale have done is looking and has kind of through this translation to put it in the context of this Gurbani has saying that tol here means virtue, because then it works from the previous Pangati. So he's saying that ekkata tolana ambada, and the word ambada means to reach, and it's saying that I can't even reach the end of one of your virtues, what we've just gone through. So that's, do you follow that? Ekkat, not even one of your tol, not ambada. Tol, remember we said we're going to translate to virtue here, saying that but I'm giving you other meanings of it, because so you don't get caught out in other parts of Gurbani thinking, Hampaji said it means virtue, but then you're reading it somewhere else and it means to search. So I'm just letting you know it could mean this too, but so it's bold there. So over here, tol, we're translating to virtue. So over here, she's saying, Ekkata tol na ambada. I can't even reach the end of even one of your virtues, one of your qualities, because how amazing you are. Saying that, How sad qurbane tere jau jiu. But all I can do is that sad qurbane, I can just be I could just forever be a sacrifice to you. Okay. And just a quick quote from Mother Teresa. Yeah. Sare Sanjay up, just get everyone in. This is what her kind of translation of sacrifice is, that a sacrifice to be real must cost, must hurt, must empty ourselves. So I thought it's a quite nice way of looking at it. Because when we're emptying ourselves, it's not easy, guys. To give up our ways that we're used to. It hurts, doesn't it, to have to let go when Guru Sahib is saying, Shad Prava, ki ami tu teri jed, this stubbornness you've got inside of you. And at that time I think, this is my personality, man, leave me alone. Take me as I am. How many times do you hear someone say that? Well, this is me, this is my personality. Right? But Guru Sahib is saying, you have to get smashed. If you want to get carved, first you have to be smashed. Samrat hai. He's got the power to carve you and make you beautiful, but you have to be willing to be hit first. You have to say, I know, right, okay, I'll So in that sense, it kind of makes sense what she's saying, doesn't it? So it's quite cool. So literally just saying that, cannot even reach one of your virtues, I am forever a sacrifice to you. And then, now she tells us her downfall, why she a Kuchaji. And she's saying, this is what happened to me. And this is where I still am. I'm trying to escape from. She's saying that Soina, Rupa, Rangula, Motite Manik Jiyo. She's saying that, so these are all things that you guys know. Soina is gold, Rupa is silver, Rangula means playful as well. Often in Gurbani, Rangula comes up as playful, referring to why Guruji being the playful one, Rangula. Okay, not here though. Okay, so it also is translated to by Veer Singh has done this translation in the Gurbani Kosh, which is by Gyani Hazara Singh, edited by Veer Singh. So he says that here, that another meaning for Rangla is from the word Rang, Anand, Khushi, happiness, pleasure, and then the La, so that bit is like lava, so it means like that something that gives you this. So Rangala over here is meaning something that gives you pleasure. Okay? And if you look at these things that gives happiness, so Professor Sahib Singh is saying beautiful things. Rangala is just translated to beautiful things. Okay? And Moti means pearls, Manik means lals and rubies. Se vastu shahidittiyan, main tinsyo laya chit jiyo. Then Guru Sahib Ji goes on to say that se vastu, those things, so referring to all these things now. Who's given all these things to this wife? Se vastu, se is those. Vastu means things, referring to those. Se vastu means those things. In Punjabi Kosh, the word vastu has been translated to thing, article, commodity, material, object, substance. So over here we're just referring to these things, the soina, the gold and the silver and everything. Who's given them to her? Se vastu shahadittiyan. Remember that word again? Seh, but just spelled slightly different from the word we went through, shoho, husband. But because it's got a sihari here now, so it just means pati ne. My husband gave me. Unne, he did. So that's what it means over here. So that's how it changes it. See how important each lagamatra are, how it changes things slightly. Okay? So she's saying that se vastu she dittiyan, main tinsyo laya chit jiyo, and then that she pati ne, my husband. Chit means focus, mind. The katha to chit alone could be very long, but over here it just means focus, or you can look at it as mind. So now let's put this together. What's she saying now? What's this bride saying now? She's saying that this gold, this silver, pearls and rubies, these things that are commonly perceived as being. So whatever I put in brackets, this is common practice when you read steeks. Remember, steeks are in-depth translation of Gurbani. And often this is a common practice in them. When they put something in bracket, it means we're going away now from literal translation, but we're going to put some of our own wordings into what this line means. So I've used the same method. So she's saying here that these things that are commonly perceived as being beautiful, valuable, that provide happiness, pleasure to a lot of people thinking, do they really? But for so many people, if you think of a lot of people in this world, they do. For them, that's what they want to have and get and perceive, and they're thinking, by me receiving these, this is what I'm going to find my happiness through. If my husband gives me loads of this, gives me loads of gold, gives me loads of beautiful houses and everything else. So my husband, Lord, has blessed me with these things. Se vastu she dittiya mere pati ne dittiya mainu, and I have focused my thoughts on them. My complete focus is in them, and it's not in what? What has she completely missed? Why did she become a Kuchaji? Because katik karma kamavane doshna kahu jog, that she's saying, she's admitting, she's telling you her problem now. She's putting her hands up. She goes, are they? She goes, my focus was in them and not in who gave them to me. She's saying, so I take responsibility. She's saying, katik karma kamavane doshna kahu jog. She says, I don't blame anyone else for the way I am, the way I've become, because she obviously isn't happy. She thought she would be with all those things, but now she's realizing that I'm empty from inside. I've not got what those happy soul brides have got. She feels something's missing. She sees the difference between them and her. But she's not blaming anyone else. She's saying, Karam Kamavane, it's due to my own actions where I am today. I can't dosh na kahu jog. I can't put this on anybody else. And again, this is Parmeshwar te bhulya vyapan sabbe rog. Once you forget the giver, they said, then you're going to be in trouble. So then she carries on listing other things. She's saying, Mandar, mitti sandade, patthar kite ras jiyo. She says, what did I make into? Mandar, don't get caught out. Mandar doesn't always mean temple or place of worship. Okay? Because mandar very often in Gurbani means mansion, like a big house. Okay? Some people have actually written it as magnificent house. Don't always think when you hear mandar, it's talking about a place of worship. Many times in Gurbani, mandar is talking about a big house, a mansion. Saying mandar mitti, everyone knows what mitti is. Yeah, over here, mud. Sandade. Sandade means of, from. Patthar. Everyone knows what patthar is. Stone. Kite ras jiyo. You've heard this word very often in Gurbani, yes? Ras. So Ras means capital. Not the capital as in capital city. Everyone understand capital in which way?
Money.
Sorry?
Money.
Yes. Tika? Everyone got that? Okay. So she's saying here that Mandar mitti sandare patthar kite ras. You will go through the translation, just giving you some of the words here. Ras is capital. So then she says, how any toli pulyas this kantana bethi pastiyo. Any toli means like within these things. Remember we saying that toli we're going to do as things. any within these things, and then pulliyas, just from the word pol gaya, but over here it's feminine pulliyas. She's saying that, she's saying I got lost. Yeah. Kant is also another word for husband. So she's saying mandar mitti sandade patthar kite rashtiyo, that I have made mansions made from mud. That's what that means. So mandar mitti sandade patthar, made out of mud, out of stone. That's what these words mean. I've made mansions made from mud and stone my capital. I've made this into my investment, that this is what I've got. That, and she's saying that how any toli puliyasa, but amongst these things I've forgotten something. I've got lost in them. I'm so stuck in them, I've got lost in them. Or what's happened? Tis kant na baithi paas jiyo. Tis kant. Which kant? Which husband? This keda pati. What's she trying to say here? No, as in like she's saying that husband I've forgotten, that has done what? That has given all of these. All I can see is what I've got, but I've completely forgotten who's given them. She's saying that tis kantana baithi paas jiyo. So that literally means that I do not sit by my husband. That's all that means literally. Because I mean baithi, I'm not sitting with him anymore, because I'm so busy just with them, with the things that he's given me, that has given all these to me. Guru Sahib Ji saying here that, what does this mean? He's saying daat pyari visriya datar. Saying that the things have become, they become beloved for me. Pyari means beloved as well. That visriya datara, the giver, have completely taken out the equation. She's saying, she's telling you her problem. This is what's happened to me. But I want to get out. She wants to get out though. She doesn't want to be stuck in them. Saying that Gurmat naam mera pran sakhai, har kirat hamri reh ras. Where did we hear this pankti? Reh ras? Yes? Everyone confident? ठीक है, definitely reh ras ठीक है ना? Yes? So why do we call that Bani reh ras? Because of this one word that comes up in this Bani. What does this one word mean? Has anybody thought about this before? Does anybody know from the top of your head what it means? So yes, so Punjabi Siddhi reh, jiri cheez reh janiya, that thing that is going to remain, reh ras. So we was meant to make what into our capital? That's not our capital. That's not what's going to go with us. Capital is something that is going to help us. But we've got a long journey ahead of us when we leave this world. And we've got the journey of this world as well. It's not just, so we've got to walk upon the path of this world and then the world after. But we need to collect that capital that is going to remain with us forever and is always going to be beside us. There's many things, even on the journey of this life, when those houses can't help us. When that money that we've got, I'm not saying we shouldn't have it, but if you read into the life of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji didn't believe in the concept of saving up large amounts of money. Guru Nanak Dev Ji said it's really bad for us. And this is something I found and I read through the complete Jivan of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, as much as somebody can record it. They actually teach us through many sakhiyan. They say, it's not about being stupid and saying, ha bas arado theek hai jo ya, it's not that type of thing.
What are you supposed
Okay, so what Guru Sahib Ji is saying is keep that money circulating, into better the society around us. How many projects are there out there? Go and see people like, Bibi Prakash Kaur, who runs places like Unique Homes in Jalandhar. She's 57 years old now. She was an orphan herself, but that woman, she took it upon herself then to go and pick up girls that were left for dead. And today, she's got about 60 girls, and she takes them from birth and she brings them up, and then what she she puts them into the best of schools. It's not like auntie, yeah, alright, you was lucky that you're here, let's just get you through your life. No. She actually puts them into the top schools. One of the girls that she raised from a baby, that she picked up out of a dustbin is studying in a university in England today. Yeah, help these people out. Go and meet these people. She was one of those bibiyan that I felt that was Ambi Shavadiye Hijiyo. I've done sangat with a lot of people within this world. I've met many saints, but she was one of them that I won't forget. She's one of them. When I was in her presence, you know, she felt like that shade. Very simple lady. You know, not many people, there's not really been many people in this world that I've heard say these words and be absolute genuine about them. She was wearing this absolute simple suit, you know, like that, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਖੱਦਰ ਦਾ ਸੂਟ ਪਾਇਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਾ. It was completely plain, and she looked me straight in the eyes. And why did she feel different when I was in her presence? Because I've met so many people whilst I was out in India, and they treated me like this star, like this pracharak, but she just treated me like just another person. And when I was in her presence, she just looked. I can remember that moment. She looked at me. She picked up a suit like this, and she goes, "Kappadyan vich thodo sukh betha." And she goes, "Sach karke mani." She goes, "Main man da sukh paya hai." She goes, "I've actually obtained peace of mind." You know when it's like, you know when somebody's just saying empty words, but this is when you could feel somebody's inside just coming out. You know, have that inspiration to want to be around these people. You know, say to Guru Sahib Ji, take me to these people, and Guru Sahib Ji will take you to the presence of these type of people. I would recommend to go and see her while she's still on this world, what she's achieved for these girls. Remember, we went into this room, and there was just like about 5 cradles, and there was just like about 20 babies in this one room. But she's building now like a huge and beautiful place for them with a massive garden. Her whole life is she's just thinking of them. You know, so there's a lot of people doing a lot of amazing things on this world. You know, and sometimes Marji's blessed us with a bit of extra cash. Let's try and get it flowing in the right direction. Vaheguru, Vaheguru.